Deputy Speaker, can I congratulate my honourable friends, the members for Hastings and Rye and Darlington, who sits beside me, and it's a pleasure to follow my colleague from West Dorset. Can I start by thanking all those who work in the hospices? They do a remarkable job, and we should be very grateful for all they do. In 2003, when I was reporting for BBC South Today, I was sent to the official opening of Julia's house in Corfmullen, Dorset. Little did I know that the first person I'd meet there was my mother, who sadly died in 2019. Her instinct for caring and compassion drew her to this remarkable hospice for children like a moth to a flame. I was immediately struck by the wonderful environment the dedicated staff had created, and a desperately needed service to provide practical and emotional support to families caring for a child with life-limiting or life-threatening condition was born. Julia's House is one of more than 200 adult and children hospices that care and support about 300,000 patients a year, Madam Deputy Speaker. They work hand in hand with local health and care services, taking the pressure off the NHS. Hospices, as we've heard, are mainly funded by charity. On average, around 2/3 of the income for adult services is raised through fundraising. For children, and alarmingly, that figure is 4/5. In 2022, the Health and Care Act introduced for the first time, as we've heard again, a legal duty for integrated care boards to commission palliative care services that met the needs of the local population. However, a recent report, and again we've heard this in the Chamber, and I make no apology for repeating myself or repeating what colleagues have said, a recent report by the APPG on hospice and end-of-life care, co-chaired by my honourable friend from Darlington sitting right here beside me, found that despite this legal requirement, funding from ICBs varied significantly across the country. Today, the sector is under significant financial pressure. Hospice UK estimates the sector is on track for a £77 million deficit for the financial year in 2024. Nowhere is this more real than at Julia's House. The Chief Executive, Martin Edwards, said that over 90% of the annual running costs were met by fundraising. The government's contribution remains low at only 8%. This over-reliance on people's generosity, which is enormous, will see Julia's House face a budget deficit of £1 million this year. If the member from the SNP can refrain, I'd be grateful. This dire situation is exacerbated by the ending this year of a share grant of £25 million from NHS England. Julia's House cares at its 2 sites for 176 families across Dorset and Wiltshire. Mr. Edwards said they were coping with children and with more complex needs, requiring more staff and putting more pressure on budgets. The care provided is intensive, Madam Deputy Speaker, with a family being supported for up to 5 years following the death of a child. As you might imagine, palliative care comes with all kinds of issues, not least medical, emotional and financial. Who do you turn to for help and advice? How does the patient wish to be cared for, and who supports the carer? This is where a remarkable charity called Lewis Manning Hospice Care comes into play. The Chief Executive, Claire Galley, told me their team comes to your home and in effect responds to the needs of the patient and family by signposting them to relevant services, from treatment to transport. Importantly, it is the need of the patient which is most significant. So, for example, if their wish is to die at home, everything possible is done to ensure that that happens. Importantly, this free service is proactive rather than reactive, anticipating what the patient and family want, reducing crisis at the end of life, and saving the NHS a lot of money by freeing up GPs' time and negating the need for a hospital. A pilot scheme being run in a part of Dorset has already saved the NHS £140,000 in April alone. Imagine if this scheme was rolled out across the country, Madam Deputy Speaker, it would save the NHS millions. Let me conclude. There is no doubt there is a need for more government funding for hospices, independent, fiercely so, as they are. But the funding disparities, as we've heard from every speaker virtually, must be looked at. Yes, I hear the government say it's another call for money, and there are many other demands. But well-funded hospice care would safeguard this very effective and necessary sector, which can or not live on charity alone, and nor should it.